What's going on, my people? Welcome back to another episode of the Stop the Count podcast. In this episode, I'll talk about the UFC and boxing events that happened over the weekend, as well as Milan's game versus Torino and Chivas' game versus Santos. First, for the UFC card headlined by Max Holloway versus Chang Sung Jung, otherwise known as the Korean Zombie. What a great card this was. I was really not expecting that, but getting into some of the fights and fighters I really enjoyed on the card, starting with Rinyanakamura. This is my favorite type of fighter. He'll wrestle your head off and control you on the ground. Rinya was so close to finishing the fight multiple times by submission, but his opponent, Fernie Garcia, was able to stay in the fight. Some people will say it wasn't a dominant performance from Rinya since he wasn't able to get Garcia out of there, but in my opinion, it was still a dominant performance from Rinya Nakamura, getting a great unanimous decision victory. Why nitpick every little thing just because he didn't finish Fernie? But in the fight, he killed him mentally. Now for erinblanchfield versus tailasantos. What a fight this was. Both women came out hot. Tyla was really landing whatever she wanted, even busting Erin up early. Tyler was doing a great job defending Erin's takedown attempts and defending in the clinch, but that's of course tiring. And after that amazing start, the fatigue kicked in on Tyler. And Erin pretty much took over, controlling Tyler on the ground and making Tyler work for everything on the ground or wrestling, not letting Tyler get the fight where she wanted it to be. This fight was worthy of a fight night main event. In my opinion, 3 rounds didn't do this fight justice. I don't believe the outcome would have changed because it was still a great performance from Erin Blanchfield, showing she deserves to be challenging for the title next. Now for Giga Chikadze versus Alex Caceres, I was very let down by this one. I'm not saying this fight was boring, but I expected so much more. Giga was certainly the better fighter, and you couldn't even tell he was off for all that time. Alex did say he hurt himself in the first round, so that might have something to do with his performance, but that doesn't take away from Giga's performance and his win. But about Giga's call out, do you guys think it's too early for Giga to fight a high level opponent like Yair Rodriguez? Let me know in the comments below. Now for Anthony Smith versus ryanspann. Anthony came out hot with his kicks and was winning the battle on the feet, and personally I thought ryanspann would be winning that battle. The second round the tide turned a little bit. Ryan landed a couple hard shots and a flying knee that hurt Anthony and left Anthony's eye fucked up. But the one thing everyone knows, probably except ryanspann, is Anthony can't defend leg kicks. And Ryan did not attack the legs at all. Anthony was named the winner by split decision, and I honestly believe that was fair. The third round was close, neither fighter was doing much, but I believe Anthony took it, and he sealed the win. Let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think? Who won that fight? Now for the main event, Max Holloway versus the Korean Zombie. What a great fight from both fighters. Zombie came out to kill or be killed, and Max came out fighting smart. There was a couple times Zombie seemed to have hurt Max, but no. Max stayed in the fight at all times. But as the fight continued, Max got better and better, hurting Zombie in the second, but the heart in Zombie really showed as he stayed in the fight. But you really knew it was only a matter of time before it came to an end. And the fight would come to an end in the third round as both fighters seemed to just throw caution to the wind and just let it all go. And in a fight like that, Max Holloway will more than likely always come out victorious. It was a great knockout victory for Max, but the real story came after, as Chang Sung Jung, the Korean Zombie, called it a career, ending a great 16-year career that came across many promotions that took him to many countries, and even though he was never able to win the UFC championship, he'll always go down as one hell of a fighter. Although there will always be one question: what if he didn't have to take 4 years off during his prime for military service? That really sucks. It was almost the same thing that happened to Heung-min Sung from Tottenham, the striker, but thankfully it didn't. There really is no better way to retire than he did. He did it in front of many of his fans, singing his walkout song. It will forever be one of the best moments in recent UFC history. Now for the top ranked card headlined by Jaredanderson versus andreiirudenko. But first, for some prospects on the card, starting with Bruce Shushucarrington. Another great performance. He wasn't able to knock out his opponent, but I believe he's ready for a real step-up fight. He's such a good fighter, and he's doing a great job getting better each and every fight. And in this fight, he did a great job fighting behind his jab and working his opponent's body. Defensively, he's going to have to be more disciplined. He leaves his chin out there at times, and against a hard-hitting opponent, that'll be a true problem. Nonetheless, Shushu still got a clear unanimous decision win, and he had himself a great performance. Now for bakhodirjalolov, this guy's a monster, crazy power, dropping his opponent 3 times in the first round before the referee stopped the fight. Early or not, it was only a matter of time. There was not much to criticize here, a great performance from bakhodirjalolov. And now for the brightest prospect in boxing, Abdullahmason. What a great fight it was. Abdullah was in there with an opponent that really made him work for everything. And for us fans, it really shows us how complete of a fighter he is. Yes, he's not the best yet, but a little more polishing, some more rounds, and you'll see. Getting back to the fight on Saturday, Abdullah did get hit a lot more than usual. He was still able to look great, showing the catch and shoot side of his game, and the body work Abdullah was doing was just amazing. It was honestly a good performance and a major shout out to his opponent taking all those shots and still coming forward. Abdullah wasn't able to get the knockout, but he still won a clear unanimous decision win. Now for the main event, Jaredanderson versus andreiirudenko. Domination is an understatement when describing this fight. Jared was nothing less than spectacular, dominating Rudenko, absolutely obliterating the body. I believe there was a point in the fight where Jared landed 65 body shots to Rudenko's 1. But of course, these are the type of opponents Jared's supposed to do this to, and there really isn't much to say until we see Jared in there with a top level opponent. Now for Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois, starting with the prospects I mentioned in my last video. First, talking about Andreiirudenko, another great first round knockout. Through his 13 fight career, he showed us a little bit of everything, and this man needs a step up. And now for hamzahsheeraz, 10 out of 10 performance, an all-around beast. Amazing performance. If this doesn't show us he's ready for a top-level opponent or contender, I don't know what will. The power, the accuracy, it's all there. It really sucks no major American outlets are reporting on this guy, but one day we'll all know the name of hamzahsheeraz. Now for the main event, Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois for Usyk's unified heavyweight championship. What a fight between these two. There was a little bit of everything from a great fight to controversy to literal weather problems. The fight started off how most people would have thought. Usyk was pressuring Daniel, forcing Daniel to fight how Usyk wanted. And that was not at all beneficial to Daniel. He was struggling going back and wasn't able to get it going in the early rounds. As soon as Daniel made a couple adjustments, the fight changed in his favor. In my opinion, the biggest change was focusing on Usyk's body. And it was with one of those body shots where the controversy came. A seemingly clean body shot that floored Usyk was called a low blow, giving Usyk 5 minutes to fully recover. Now Usyk was ready to come back before the 5 minutes, but the referee was not having it, pretty much forcing Usyk to take the whole 5 minutes, which in my opinion I think is bullshit. The referee should not be telling a fighter when he's ready or not. Oleksandr Usyk is a grown man and he can make his own decisions. Now, as the fight restarted after that so-called low blow, it seemed a lot more even to me than before. Both fighters landed really good shots, but it was Oleksandr Usyk that stood out, even dropping Daniel in the 8th round and ultimately stopping Daniel Dubois in the 9th. Say what you want about Daniel, if he quit or not, only Daniel knows what he felt and what he thought. I know I would have been mentally drained knowing I landed a perfectly clean body shot and it had to be called back due to a non-existent low blow. Before the 8th round knockdown, I had Usyk winning by just 1 round, so I seen the fight extremely close, but that doesn't take away from the great performance given to us by Oleksandr Usyk. Now for a question I have for you guys, do you think Usyk is ready for Tyson Fury or should he give Daniel a rematch? Also, if you were Tyson Fury, do you 100% take the Usyk fight seeing this performance? Let me know in the comments below. Now for the Golden Boy main event, Oscarcollazo versus Garen Diagan. I'm going to be honest, I didn't watch it live, I forgot about it, but I did watch it yesterday, and oh boy was it something. Oscar was pressuring Garen from go, putting him right up against the ropes and not letting him do much. Oscar was doing a great job staying behind the jab, and that was really all he needed. Now I'm not saying that's all he used, he did a great job mixing everything together, and Diagan was not doing a good job at all. And let's not even talk about his cornerman. Not having a cutman should be illegal. It was really only a matter of time before the fight ended because it was a complete mismatch. Oscar really had nothing to worry about. The fight was stopped after the 6th round as Diagan quit on the stool. Was it cramps? Was it the damage Oscar caused? Who knows? But Oscar Collazo is still the champ. I wish I could say that Oscar is a problem to any lower weight fighter, but I can't say that after this fight. Not just yet. I need to see him in there with a real tough opponent that'll actually do something against him. Now for soccer, starting with Milan's game versus Torino. What a first half. It did start off very competitive, very close, but when the first ball touched the back of the net, it couldn't stop. A total of 4 goals were scored in a span of 15 minutes, giving Milan a 3-1 lead going into the break. Sprinkled in between Milan's goal, there was a semi-controversial penalty. In my opinion, there's nothing controversial about it. The defender's hand was not in a natural position, and it was correctly called by the referee. Now, besides the goal scorers, I really liked the first half of Rafael Leao. He was doing a great job getting by his defender and just trying to set up his teammates, and ultimately that led to 2 of Milan's goals being scored. He played a hand in the penalty and gave Theo Hernandez a beautiful ball that was finished amazingly by Theo. As the second half started, it was again very evenly matched, neither side really having any dangerous chances, but that changed in the 64th minute when Leao was able to get a penalty kick, although it did cost us more than we would want, as Rafael would leave the game injured. Giroud slotted away the penalty and pretty much sealed the game for Milan. Again, another great team performance. The new signings are really showing out. Tijani, Pulisic, and Loftus-Cheek are making me a believer. Their next game is Friday against Roma in Roma. Now for the Chivas game versus Santos. After much speculation, Chapito Sanchez did not start the game. Alan Mozo was a starter and Guti came in place of Pocho. But now talking about the first half. Chivas started to play like shit, absolute garbage, making very idiotic mistakes that a Division 1 player should not make. From what I noticed, they were supposedly playing a 4-3-3, but I honestly seen them play a 4-1-3-2, with also being the defensive midfielder, and that's where they lost the half. Santos midfield just toyed with Chivas. Pedro Aquino and Alan Cervantes seemed to be fucking unbeatable this half. And that's not to mention Juan Bruneta, that was doing a great job getting in between defenders and just making plays. You can't have one singular quote-unquote defensive midfielder and 3 offensive midfielders like Nene, like Piojo, and like Guti, who again just looks very bad. A team needs balance, and Chivas did not have that at all. The whole half, I believe Chivas had 1 shot on goal, which came in the 6th minute. They went almost 45 minutes without a single shot on goal. You win games by scoring goals, and Chivas were obviously not trying to do that. But now for the second half, if I thought the first half was bad, the second half was so much worse. This game is 100% Paunovic's fault the team lost. Those substitutions were so uncalled for. Yes, also was not having a good first half, but Lalo Torres is not a good midfielder. How he still has a spot on the bench baffles me. He's the main reason Santos were able to score the 2 goals. He's so uncomfortable on the ball, it's crazy. And let's not even talk about the bonehead yellow card he got 5 minutes into being substituted on. Then Paunovic took out our second best player of the tournament and our best midfielder in Nene, when it's quite obvious who should have been taken out for Yael Padilla. There's only a handful of players that really played well. Wacho really stands out for how much hate this man gets. Yes, most of it is justified, but this game he really saved us from much more embarrassment. Yael at just 17 years old is much more than Alexis Vega. He's a player that actually fights for the badge and not for a non-existent foul. Piojo, of course, being the main playmaker for Chivas. Again, it's crazy to think the little notoriety he's getting for how good he's playing. And now for the big story. Alexis Vega, el pendejo más sobrevalorado del momento. All I hear is this guy's the best Mexican player in the league. And honestly, he's not even the best player playing for Chivas. He's the highest paid Chivas player, and by a lot, I might add. And it's crazy to be outplayed by that much and by a 17-year-old. A star player should not be throwing temper tantrums for not being able to get anything going. A star player knows sooner or later his play is going to come. You're a first division player. You're not a 16-year-old. You're a captain on this team. His first yellow card should have arguably been a red card for kicking a player, and that player was a former Chivas captain in the youth system. I could guarantee you right now, Alan Cervantes fights for Chivas 10 times more than Alexis Vega ever will. And the second yellow card, you do not conduct yourself in that manner on the bench, you pouty bitch. If it was up to me, he doesn't get another start this season. Play him off the bench or don't play him at all. The players I was told about growing up are 10 times the players Alexis Vega will ever be. Mentally, he's just like Uriel Antuna, and I believe Chivas are better off without him. Nonetheless, Chivas lost 2-1 after Piojo converted a penalty. A horrible game through and through. Chivas lost the undefeated streak and remain in first place for now. Their next game is Sunday against Monterrey at home. That'll be it for me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Twitter at StopTheCount10. See you guys later on this week as I talk about the upcoming fights. See you then.